Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss week 7, assignment 7 of data science for engineers course. So here he has given us a data set. Okay. So we have to read the CSV file into our studio, and you have to predict MPG considering the other predictors. Okay. These are the different variables and this description given. So first of all, what you will do, you will download this CSV file and load the CSV file into your RStudio. And upon that, you have to find these questions. Okay. So first one, they are saying you have to find the total number of missing values present in the data frame. So how can you find the total number of missing values present in the data frame? Is that you can take a simple example which they have considered here. Here we are seeing different examples, like 3 examples, how we can count the missing values. So here, the missing values in R will be represented by value. You can by terminology NA. Okay. So here they are considered a vector. As you see in this vector, there are 3 missing values. So how can I count these values? Is nothing but there is a function called as is.na. For that is.na function, you will be passing whatever data frame you are going to refer to as the reference, okay, as an argument. So I'm passing vec as an argument to this, and I'm summing the number of missing values. So I'll be getting the output as 3. Okay. Similarly, you can also count NA values in each data frame column. So here they have created a data frame column. Sorry, they have created a data frame with 3 columns. Okay. X1 column has 2 missing values. X2 column has one missing value, and X3 column has no missing values. Okay. So now rather than counting the overall missing values, I can also count missing values for each column. So how can you do that is, so this is the syntax is.na, which data frame you are going to refer to. That is, as you see here, that data, they have created the data frame, that reference is stored in data. And I want to access first column x1. That's why I'm saying data $x1, because as you're going to access the column of the data frame, first column of the data frame, you have to use dollar. Okay. So here I want to count the total number of missing values present in the first column. That's why you're giving the reference as the first column of the data frame. So you'll be getting 2 as the output. So in this way, you can similarly do it for x2 column and x3 column. Okay. If you want to count NA values in all data frame columns, you can just use call some function is.na of data. So here it will give the reference of all the data frames. I'm sorry, all the missing values present in each column. X1 has 2 missing values, X2 has 1 missing value, X3 has 0 missing value. So like that you can do it. Okay. Now let's go to our question. Let me go to the RStudio. So we have to find the total number of missing values present in that particular data frame, right? So auto.csv is nothing but my data frame. So I have to read the data frame and load it into my RStudio. So how I'm doing is that read.csv, you need to mention which particular CSV file you're going to read. Okay, auto.csv is the CSV file, and whenever I read this data, that whatever data is present in auto.csv, it is getting stored in auto. So once I type auto, I'll be getting whichever data frame I'm going to refer to. So this is not my data set. I'll just so this is the data set. You see, let us check what's the data. Okay, auto 2.csv. Actually, I have two auto.csv files. That's why I renamed it to auto 2.csv. If you just check this one, it will be having all the different columns like MPG, acceleration, cylinders, displacement, horsepower, weight, and acceleration. So this is my data set. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I have just renamed that file to auto2.csv, and I'm just saying read.csv of auto2.csv, and that data is getting stored in mpg data. Okay. MPG data, whenever I call MPG data variable, I will be getting this whole thing displayed. Okay. So here, if you see, there are no missing values actually. You can just write it directly saying it's 0, but let's apply the formula, that up function what we have seen. So here what I'm doing for this data frame, I want to know how many missing values are present. So I'm using is.na function, and for this I'm just mentioning which particular data frame I want to refer to for counting the missing values. So you already know, I know that we have stored the data set in MPG data, I mean data frame reference in this one. That's why I'm summing it. So I got it as 0. So the total number of missing values will be 0. Okay. So that is your first output. Next is the Pearson's correlation coefficient between MPG and acceleration. So you need to calculate, you need to solve the Pearson's correlation coefficient between these two variables, MPG and acceleration, and you have to round off it to 2 decimal places. So how can you do that is, there is one function called core. This core will be taking those two variables which you are referring to. Okay. So they already told us you have to calculate the correlation, Pearson correlation between MPG and acceleration. So we'll be considering those two variables. So core is a function, and MPG and acceleration I want to consider for calculating the Pearson correlation function, correlation coefficient. So MPG data is the data frame, and which column, which variable you have to refer to, MPG and MPG data dollar acceleration. So once you have calculated the correlation coefficient, that value is, you're storing it in X, and whenever I just call X, I'm getting this value. So this is my Pearson correlation coefficient. Now they told us that I have to round that coefficient into 2 decimal points. So I am rounding off that, I'm just rounding off this x to round off x comma 2. Once I round off, I will be getting 0.42. So in this way, you can just calculate the correlation coefficient between any two given variables and round it off to how many number of decimal points they have given. So this is your result, 0.42. So B's option is 0.42. Now they are saying build a linear regression model, LR model, using all the variables in the data. Okay. So 3, 4, 5 will be depending, third, fourth, fifth questions will be depending on this LR model. So they are saying third, what is the value of adjusted R square? Okay. For this LR model, you have to find the adjusted R squared model. Next, coefficient of variable displacement, and which of the variables is not significant in LR model. Okay. So here they already told us that we have to predict MPG depending on the other predictors given in this data set, right? So I'll be considering MPG as my dependent variable and other predictors as my independent variables, right? So for LR model, whenever you want to create an LR model, you need dependent variables and independent variables. So which function I will be using here is nothing but LM function, because I want to create a linear model for LM, right? So I'm just going into this RStudio again. So I'm writing here LM of MPG, because I am going to predict MPG depending on the all the other variables present in the data set, right? So if you just remove MPG, you will be left over with cylinders, displacement, horsepower, weight, and acceleration. So which data frame you're going to refer to, that is MPG data. Okay. Once the linear model is gets created, it's getting stored in LR model. Next, I'm just doing summary of LR model. Then I'll be getting whole reference of this one. Okay. So from here they asked us, from here you can answer these questions now. What is the value of adjusted R square for LR model? Adjusted R square is nothing but this one, 0.7039. Okay. So this will be your answer. Next question is the coefficient of variable displacement is. So let's go to RStudio again. Coefficient of variable displacement. So this is the coefficients. Under coefficients, you need to check the displacement variable, and this is the value for this variable displacement variable coefficient. Okay, minus 8.313 E minus 0.5. So this will be your answer. Now they are saying which of the variables is not significant in LR model. So how can you check the significance of each LR model is, significance of each variable in LR model is. So here they have already given us some options. So we need to calculate the p-value. So you can just consider this one. So you have to consider p-values of all these variables. First, I'll be considering cylinder variable. Let's go here. I'll just write it here somewhere. So you have to, the last column will be considered as the p-values. So they have given us four options here: cylinders, weight, horsepower. Sorry, three options: cylinders, weight, and horsepower. So first of all, I will be considering the cylinders p-value. This is the p-value. Okay. Displacement is not considered, so let's remove that. Acceleration is also not considered. We'll be considering cylinders, weight, and horsepower. Acceleration is also not considered, and weight p-value is this one. Okay, so this one I can just write it as this is equals to 6 into 10 power minus 10. Okay, so what should I do is these are the p-values. So you need to compare p-value with alpha, that is significant value. So if you come to the RStudio, you can find the significant codes here. So that is 0.001, 0.01, 0.05, and 0.1. So with all these values, you have to compare the p-value. So if I compare the p-value, that is p-value of cylinder of 0.33330. So I need to compare that with 0.01. Let's write it. I need to compare p with significant value here. Is 0.001 and 0.01, 0.05, and 0.1. So whenever you get a p-value less than the significant value, then alpha value you can say, or significant value, I can say that variables are significant. Okay, and if p-value is greater than the significant level, then I can just say those variables are insignificant or not significant. Okay. So here, whenever I compare this value with this significant levels, I'll be getting this as p-value will always be greater than the significant level. So here it should be greater than, not less than. Then I can say this is insignificant. Similarly, you can compare this horsepower with 0.001 comma 0.01 comma 0.05 comma 0.01. Similarly, and here this weight also, that is weight p value also you'll be comparing with 0.001 comma 0.01 comma 0.05 and 0.5. So with all these values you'll be comparing. So always this value will be lower than these all values. Okay, that's why this is considered significant. In horsepower you will be getting only at one significant level, you will be getting as insignificant. I mean, at 0.001 you will be getting as insignificant, but all the values will be, all the other levels will be significant only. But here for cylinders variable, all the values are failing. Okay, at all the significant levels, if you try to compare, this value will be greater than compared to the alpha values. So that's why I'll be considering cylinders as my not significant. Okay, in this way you can calculate, you can means conclude which particular variable is significant or not significant. Sometimes they will be giving us the significant level, that which of the following variables is not significant at 1%, 5%, like that. So you have to compare the p value of those variables with that particular 1% variable. Okay, 1% significant level. Because they didn't give us here anything, we are comparing the p values with all the significant levels present. Okay, from that we concluded that cylinder variable is not significant. So next coming is the confusion matrix question. So before coming to this question, let's know some few things regarding the confusion matrix. So actually, the confusion matrix will be having four values. Okay, we are considering here binary binary classifier. So for binary classifier, you will be having maximum two outputs, that is yes or no or 0 or 1. From the two outputs, we concluded four ways of representing those four outcomes. Okay. The four outcomes can be considered as true positives, true negatives, false positives, and false negatives. Okay. As you see this figure, you have two kinds of variables or values. You can say those are nothing but predicted values or actual values. Predicted values are nothing but what your prediction can happen. How the prediction can happen. Actual values are nothing but your correct values. Okay. So here, actual value can be no, or the predicted value can be no, and predicted value can be yes also. Okay. So there are two possible predicted classes, yes or no. If we are predicting the presence of a disease, for example, yes would mean they have the disease, no would mean they don't have the disease. Okay. So here we have the total number of samples are nothing but 165. Out of this 165 samples, we concluded that the classifier predicted S how many times? 110 times, and no 55 times. But in reality, how many patients actually have the disease? So you have to consider the actual side, that is 105 people have the actual disease and 60 people does not have the disease. Like this you have to find. So these are the basic terms: true positives, true negatives, false positives, and false negatives. So if anyone asks you for binary classifier, how many outcomes do you have? Then you have to say four outcomes. So these will be your four outcomes. Okay. When you can say that you have the true positive outcome is, there may be cases in which we predicted S and the actual result is also S. Then I can say that that is nothing but my positive, that is my true positive. So here they're considering the example, they're saying that there are cases in which we predicted as that is they have the disease and actually they do have the disease. That is true positive. And true negative is that we predicted that they don't have the disease and it is true. That is really they don't have the disease. That is considered as true negative. Okay. False positive is nothing but we predicted that they do have the disease, but in actual they don't have the disease. That is called as false positive. That is type 1 error. And false negative is we predicted no and they actually do have the disease. That is called as type 2 error. So from here we can just say that whenever the prediction is S and the actual result is S, this is considered as true positive, right? And whenever the predicted result is no and the actual result is also no, then I can say that is considered as true negative. And the false positive is prediction is yes, actual result is no. So that will be considered as false positive. And next is false negative is predicted result is no and actual result is yes. So this will be considered as false negative. Okay. So there are some traits which can be computed from the confusion matrix. So one of the trait is accuracy. So what is this accuracy is nothing but how often is this particular classifier is considered as correct. So I can just say, so if you see this figure, accuracy will be considered as the number of all correct predictions divided by total number of data sets. So what is the meaning of number of all correct predictions? So I can say that negative and true positive will be considered as correct predictions. Okay, true positive will be considered as correct positive prediction. True negative will be considered as correct negative prediction. False positive is considered as incorrect positive prediction. False negative is considered as incorrect negative prediction. So here in accuracy, they are saying that accuracy is calculated as number of all correct predictions divided by total number of the data set. So total number of the data set will be having all the four outcomes. That is false negative, false positive, true negative, and true positive. Okay. So now what should I do? I need to consider the number of all correct predictions. Correct predictions are nothing but true positive and true negative. That is Tp plus Tn by P plus N. P plus nothing but all positive values and all negative values. So this is your formula. By N you can just see. Okay. Total number of samples you can just consider. Next is sensitivity. Sensitivity is calculated as number of correct positive predictions divided by total number of positives. Correct positive predictions will be considered as TP. TP by the total number of positives. Total number of positives will be true positive plus false negative. Okay, TP by P. That is sensitivity. You can call it as recall or true positive rate. Next is specificity, that is true negative rate. So as the name suggests, it is nothing but the number of correct negative predictions divided by total number of negatives. Okay. So Tn by negative values. True negative by negative values will be true negative plus false positive. That's it. Like that you need to find it out. Okay. Precision is calculated as number of correct positive predictions divided by total number of positive predictions. That is Tp by Tp plus Fp. Like this you can calculate. Okay. So let's go to our assignment. So here they already told us that. I'll just copy this. So here accepted rate of predicted is 15 and rejected rate of predicted is 1. and actual value accepted rate is 15, and rejected value they are considered as 5 and 5. Just write it here, 5 and 5. So from this figure, what do you need to do is, let's identify which are the true positive, true negative, and other things. So here, accepted rate, predicted value, and actual accept is 15. So this means that whenever the prediction is true, the actual is also true. That means it is true positive. Okay. Next is accepted rate of predicted value and the actual is rejected. It means that this is predicted, it is true, but this is false. It means this is nothing but, I can say this is false positive. Okay. So next, what we need to do, actual is accepted, but predicted is rejected. Okay. Predicted is rejected means it is negative, and this is accepted. That is nothing but false negative. This is false negative. And next is both are rejected. Predicted is rejected and actual is also rejected. So this is nothing but true negative. Okay. So now from here we need to calculate the accuracy model. So let's open the calculator. So you already know the formula for accuracy. Accuracy is nothing but TP plus, what did we see here? TP plus TN, right? Accuracy is nothing but number of all correct predictions by total number of data set. Correct predictions nothing but true positive plus true negative. So TP plus TN by N. So N, how can you calculate is, you can just take the sum of all the columns or rows, then you will be getting the total number of samples as 15 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5, that will be 5, 5, 10, 25 and 26. So N will be 26. Okay. I've taken the total sum of these two values, these four outcomes. Okay. So this will be TP is 15, 15 plus what is TN? TN is 5. Right? This is rejected 5. So that's equals to 20 by 26. Let's calculate this one. So 20 by 26 will be approximately equals to 0.769, 0.7692. So you need to round it off to 2 decimals, then it will be equals to 0.77. Let's see whether we have that option there. Yes, we have that option. So this is how you can find the accuracy. Okay. Next, you have to find the sensitivity. Sensitivity is nothing but the correct predictions by total number of positive predictions, right? We have already seen it. Sensitivity equals to true positive by true positive plus false negative. So what is true positive here? 15 by 15 plus false negative is 1. 15 by 16. That will give us approximately 15 by 16 is equals to 0.9375. I'm rounding off to 2 decimals. Then I'll be getting 0.94. So that's your first option. Okay. Next is eighth question. Which command is used to build a logistic regression model in R? So earlier we learned that LM command is used to find the linear regression model, create linear model. So here they're asking logistic regression model. So GLM is the command which is used, function that is used to create logistic regression model. Okay. And the logistic regression tends to overfit when we have large number of independent variables present. Yes, it is true. This is considered from the video. You can refer the video. Then next, ROC curve is plotted between sensitivity and 1 minus specificity. So this is your answer. So in this way, you can work on the assignments, guys. So most probably they will be giving, definitely there are some in every assignment of week 7 there is a problem given on confusion matrix, so refer that. And here sometimes they're asking which of these variables are significant, non-significant also. And also see the definitions part, like what is ROC, what is sensitivity, what is specificity, what is the alpha value, what is sigmoid, is all things you have to read, consider perfectly while you're checking the videos. Okay. Thank you.